Welcome to Passionate World Talk Radio. Educate, enlighten, and entertain. I'm Shannon Zeman, and thank you so much for joining us on the most important 15 minutes of your day, where we share expert information on safety and preparedness that you can use in your everyday life. Recently, you may have been hearing a lot of talk about mindfulness and how it's beneficial in your everyday life. Did you know that mindfulness has become a popular component of psychotherapy, and that you don't need to attend a therapy session to gain the benefits from this simple practice? So I didn't know that. And I had an idea of what mindfulness I thought is, but really didn't know what it meant and how it could benefit me. So I reached out to my friend, Lauren Stallings, who has been a certified licensed and marriage family counselor for over 15 years, and asked if she could come on today to educate us about what mindfulness is and teach us how we could use it in our everyday life. And thankfully, Lauren said, yes. So Lauren has had a lot of experiences dealing with high school students, mostly. That's her main background. And whenever we talk about things, she's always talking about mindfulness and different things we can do. So, Lauren, please educate us on what mindfulness means.
Yeah, definitely. So I know that mindfulness right now is that hot topic that you're probably hearing everywhere. And a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon and trying to market it. But what I want to kind of talk about today is, mindfulness is not necessarily a practice or an exercise or something that you have to buy into. Mindfulness is more of a state of mind. So it's really about acknowledging, being in the moment. So being aware of, your own experience without having judgment. So you're looking at, what are my present thoughts? What are my present, feelings? What are my present physical sensations I'm having in my body? And looking at it in a non-judgmental way.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes. Easier said than done.
Right.
Because yes. I think that we are all very hard on ourselves and want to judge ourselves for, having those negative thoughts and the emotions in the moment.
Yeah.
But we have to really look at, the main components of mindfulness are looking at the awareness piece of what's going on in your body, and acknowledging that you're having these thoughts, acknowledging you're having these feelings, and then coming to acceptance and telling yourself, I'm feeling nervous. I'm having these sensations that I'm nervous, accepting it's okay that I feel nervous right now. And so not looking at it as all of these really doom and gloom kind of things. It's just, okay, yeah, I'm nervous. So let's move on. Right. And I think that's the problem that a lot of people have, is they get stuck in that rumination of feeling a certain way or thinking a certain thought. And so mindfulness teaches you how to acknowledge these things so that you can take a break from it and then move on.
Like feeling stressed out, like for me, that my kids are home constantly, and I feel so guilty that I feel anxious or I feel stressed with them being here because I'm their mom and that's my job. So I feel guilty for feeling that way.
Yeah. And so in the moment in that, you could acknowledge, I'm feeling stressed and I'm feeling, it's okay that I feel a little guilty right now.
That's good. Okay. We'll try that. So what are the benefits to incorporating mindfulness in our everyday life?
So there's, tons of benefits that can happen. And so one of the main ones is, and that we're always looking to strive for when we're looking at any kind of therapeutic intervention, is reducing depression and anxiety. So the reason why it helps that is because it's helping change the thought pattern. It's trying to help change your feeling and then changing your behaviors through that. So, it's a great practice to help with those, acknowledging when you're feeling sad and acknowledging when you're feeling stressed. Improving focus is another great one too, because if we're stuck in that rumination of thoughts, then we're not going to be able to focus on what we need to focus on. Right. So that this is happening a lot with our students right now and having to be stuck in distance learning. But if they took some time to practice a little bit of mindfulness in their day, they could, keep on going and improve that focus and attention in their schoolwork.
Wonderful.
Another one is really learning how to adapt to stressful situations. So when you take time to acknowledge you have a certain feeling to certain things, you learn how to better prepare for it in the future. And you learn how to better be able to move past it. So we're looking at it as a really good fundamental stepping stone to teach you how to do better in things.
Okay. Yeah.
And another thing moving on is, greater satisfaction with your relationships. And I think right now that's one thing that I don't feel like a lot of people are very present in their interactions with people. People are on their phones while they're talking to when they're in a group of friends, or, people are doing a million other things. And so you're not really being present with that person. So the more that you can try to practice being in that present moment, the better your relationships will be.
Perfect. That's definitely something I will put in my back pocket.
Yeah. I think we all could, have a little bit more practice with that.
Yeah.
So, and again, when we're looking at reducing those rumination of thoughts, we're going to be looking at improved ability to manage emotions. And so in CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, we look at thoughts influencing the way that we have our feelings and our emotions. Okay. So when we're able to put in a technique to help stop the thought or change the thought or acknowledge, or accept the thought, then that changes the emotion.
Like when you're thinking something, you say, "That's stinking thinking. We got to turn it around."
Yes, exactly. Yes. I like it. I'm going to have to put that one in my back pocket.
Okay, I'll share.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a lot of great resources. And it honestly doesn't take a lot of your day to practice mindfulness. I think a lot of people will have an excuse. Well, I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to, put in for a technique to help myself, or that's just not going to be something I can achieve in my day. But the thing is it really doesn't take that much time. And the more you practice it, the quicker it'll be and the easier it'll be.
Okay. I always hear that.
Yes.
I just haven't taken that on yet, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. And so today what I want to do is I want to walk you through a mindfulness exercise, because you cannot fully achieve mindfulness if you do not practice it. Okay. So we are going to practice something. And what I'm going to kind of work with you today is using your senses. So the senses are a very, very big part of mindfulness. So we're looking, we have 5 different senses. We have our sight, we have our hearing, we have our feeling, we have taste, and we have smell. So we're looking at how do we incorporate those things to help me be more mindful of my present moment. So I'm going to walk you through the 5 senses. Okay. And then we'll talk a little bit about, ways that you can use that in different ways too. But this is just kind of a general one that we'll go through.
Okay.
So the first thing that I want you to do is kind of just get comfortable.
Okay.
And we're going to go through the first part, which is 5 things that you see. So tell me about 5 things that you see to help ground you in your moment right now.
I see, well, it's all components of the beach. So I see the sand of the beach, the water, the waves of the beach. I see seagulls flying on the beach. What else? I don't see any people on the beach. So that's empty. And the last component would be that I see a beautiful sky over the ocean.
Okay, perfect. So now that we have a nice little picture, what are 4 things that you feel?
I feel the sand in my toes, and I feel the coolness of the water as it rushes over my feet. And I feel a light breeze blowing through my hair. And I feel the sun warming my skin.
Okay, very good. So now we're moving into 3 things that you can hear.
I can hear the seagulls talking. I can hear the waves crashing.
Okay, perfect.
And I can hear kids far, far away from me giggling as they're playing in the water.
All right. And then we're going to go into 2 things that you can smell.
I can feel, or I can smell, I can smell the salty ocean. I can really smell that. That would be awesome. And what else do I smell? Maybe I'm eating some junior mints. So I taste the mint. I can smell the mint.
Yeah. And the last thing is what do you taste? And so you kind of just did that, your junior mints.
Yeah, my junior mints.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And when you're ready, you can come back.
I didn't want to come back.
Yeah. So that's one exercise to do to help just kind of get you grounded, get you nice and relaxed. So you can kind of reset yourself so you're not sitting in that rumination of thoughts anymore that was kind of bothering you. This technique that you can use in picturing somewhere else that you'd like to be or somewhere else you'd like to go, or you can utilize too your present moment in your space. So using, the things that are around you in your environment, but you're always going to want to try to tie it to something that's pleasurable.
Okay.
Because what happens when you tie it to something enjoyable or pleasurable, and I'm going to ask you kind of how it was for you, is that it starts to release endorphins within your brain to help relax you and make you feel calm.
Yes.
So when you started imagining that picture, how was it for you? Tell me like what you experienced.
Well, it was really easy, first off, to imagine that picture and to kind of be in that moment because it's such an enjoyable place for me. So it was really easy. And you could almost you could hear different things going on, and I could feel in like the, maybe it's the muscle memory of my brain or whatever, but I could feel that.
Yeah. And it might be hard sometimes for people who are learning mindfulness. It might be hard to shut out noises that you hear around you. If your house is very noisy right now, a lot of people are at home, so it might be hard to kind of shut everything out.
Yeah.
But if you are able to, the more you practice it, the more you're going to be able to shut all that out and be in that moment that you're imagining for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's great. And so can you break it down one more time on the steps and the numbers that you walked me through there, just in case someone wants to write that down?
Yep. And it goes like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, I noticed that. That was really easy. I like that.
So that's an easy thing to remember. And you're always going to go like 5 is always the easiest one because it's sight. So that's an easier one. There's lots of different things that you can come up with for sight. 4 is things that you can feel. So that's like your sensation, like coolness on your body or warmness or the feeling of the sand or different things like that. And then you'll move into 3, which is things that you can hear. 2, things that you can smell. And 1 thing that you can taste.
Okay.
So when you're imagining something, it's very easy to kind of come up with those things. If you're trying to do a mindfulness in your moment and your present surroundings, smell and taste might be difficult, but if you have, some essential oils or even just taking a sip of water for your taste or something like that at the end, that will kind of help with sensing those things.
I started to get stuck on the taste because it was almost like, well, would I be eating junior mints at the beach? But that's what came to my head. So not to overthink it. Not to get stuck, whatever comes up.
Yeah.
Because then that'll just stress you more.
Exactly. You use, like in the moment, you use what you have.
Right.
And if you're imagining something, don't spend a lot of time trying to imagine it. Just go wherever your mind is taking you.
Perfect. Wonderful. So I promise I will try this.
Yes.
And everybody try this. Try to put this into your day. It only takes a few minutes. Just set a regiment and let's see what happens in the next couple of weeks. I think that would be fantastic. Now, I know that you've told me there are some great resources out there.
Yeah, so lots of great resources. A lot of people are trying to market things and trying to get you to pay for mindfulness, but there's a lot of great free resources that I'd like to give you today. I use a lot of resources and worksheets from a site called therapistaid.com.
Okay.
And so there's worksheets that you can print out. There are mindfulness videos that you can follow along to. And so it gives a really great introduction into mindfulness that you can utilize, and it's completely free.
Wonderful.
And then there's also free guided meditations that you can listen to that are available on UCLA's website.
Oh,
So all you have to do is Google UCLA free guided meditation, and there's a listing of, various recordings starting from 3 minutes up to 19 minutes.
wow,
They're in
wonderful.
English and they are in Spanish. So it's a
Perfect.
great resource, and they're completely free.
And I will add these links to my blog. So whether you're watching this on, listening to it or watching it, I will link all these to my blog. So you will be able to quickly find it if you so choose. So thank you so much.
Yeah,
I really
thank you.
appreciate it. I promise I will try it. So we've all got to try it. And then when we have Lauren on next time, we can all just touch base on how that's going too.
Yes.
So I think that is fantastic. So thank you so much for being here again.
Of course. Yeah. Happy to help.
I love it when you're here. It's so fun. So next week, Vlad Anderson joins me again, and we are actually going to be highlighting the stressors of distance learning on parents and students. So I think this is very relevant, and I think it'll be very interesting to discuss this even farther and try and find ways to help everyone. So thank you so much for listening to Passionate World Talk Radio. You've been listening to the most important 15 minutes of your day with me, Shannon Zeman. You can listen to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, with knowledge, you have the power.